Well,
Hey
hello,
there.
SahdCast friends. I know I've had some, informational, I wouldn't say boring, but less than what you're going to see today kind of podcasts. Um, you're going to see probably a little of everything today. Ethan the Farmer is a hit wherever he goes. A lot of you will remember him from our past Earth days, bringing all kinds of his friends, um, working with them. There, there are some of them. We're going to learn all about them again today. Ethan, the GTYF Foundation, Get to Know Your Farmer, and he has Neighbors Helping Neighbors. Ethan is always doing something, and it's always aligned with the reduce, reuse, recycle theme and sustainable living that we're doing. It's just that it comes so genuinely to Ethan that he's done this before it was popular, and he'll be doing it long after it isn't. So I think I might be done talking the rest of the time because I think we're just going to need to hear from Ethan. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm having all kinds of fun. We had a real bad storm down here last night on the Louisiana marsh. We are actually sitting on the marsh in the state of Louisiana. Pardon me, the animals are trying to walk me towards the shrimp boats. They have a feeling they need to go talk to the shrimp boats. No idea why.
Wait! You must stop. Why the heck? You're a Lancaster County boy. What are you doing down there?
I'm down here participating in a program of GTKYF Foundation Inc., which I founded, which is called Neighbors Helping Neighbors. And our objective down here is to help people that are in distress. Now, when you're talking about distress, Hurricane Laura, the eye of the storm, came through this community in September of last year, September 1st of last year. So you're
Okay.
looking out here at this is actually the Louisiana marsh. And right over there, some shrimp boats, and right here, some crab cages. This
Wow.
is stuff that comes in off the Gulf of Mexico. And we are down here to help these people that may not have the resources or couldn't afford the homeowner's insurance when it's $1,000 a month to get a homeowner's insurance for an $80,000 house because of the
Oh
storms.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So we come down here. I brought my customized rig, which I'll talk about here in a second. And we came down here to rebuild and help these people reconstruct. In September of last year, I was on the ground down here 30 hours after the hurricane hit and spent 2.5 weeks doing relief, climbing up on roofs, tarping roofs, helping people dig out their
Wow.
treasured possessions, and literally doing everything I could to try to help these people. I mean, lend a hand. Part of sustainability is community, and part of community means we have to join with each other, even when it's not necessarily a pristine environment. I camped in a tent pretty much on the same spot in September when there was nothing left of most of this community because of Hurricane Laura. They had 150-mile-an-hour sustained winds for about 6 hours, and it pretty much trashed the whole community.
Wow. What now? We all learned from Katrina. We all learned all these parish names that no one ever heard of. What parish are you in? And is it one of those parishes that is more susceptible because of the loss of the marsh that makes it worse for the hurricanes? It gives people a perspective.
This is called Cameron Parish, and the community that we're in is called Hackberry,
Okay.
which is it's actually where the strategic salt domes are for storing the strategic oil reserve.
Oh.
The military has them here, which is kind of odd, but in the same hand, it's a very blue collar, it's a fishing and tour guide generated business of economics. And as well as, the commercial fishing, the crabbing, the shrimping, all of that kind of stuff. Overall, it's a very depressed community as far as there's no industry. It's rough. And a lot of these people are second, third, fourth, fifth generation families that have lived here. Now, as far as the being susceptible to more issues, the issues that they have, yes, are related to the loss of marsh, the loss of barrier islands, the loss of Well, the water coming up. I mean, the water, it rained last night and there's literally 4 inches of water under my rig right now.
Right. So they've become the coast when, like 30 years ago or a generation or two ago, they were not the coast. There was a lot in between them and the Gulf.
They went 40 years and didn't have a hurricane hit here.
Yeah.
And in the last 15 years, they've been hit by 4 hurricanes.
Wow.
One of which they took the brunt of it, which was last September. And even after Hurricane Laura, they got hit by 2 following hurricanes last year, either the outskirts of it or various different parts of it. But nonetheless, they still took the brunt of those storms. And
yeah. And think about what she said, $1,000 a month just for insurance on an $80,000. You're at 12 for 8, you're at what? 15% of your value of the property in insurance every year. That's crippling.
Yeah. And when you're making a living selling crabs by the pound or selling shrimp by the pound or taking guys out on a boat to go sport fishing in the Gulf or the marshes or duck hunting, sport hunting, it becomes something they can't afford.
Right.
And then a lot of these guys, there were 90 boats, commercial fishing boats out of this town before the hurricane last year. There are only 12 now.
Wow. So it's probably the big ones are the only ones left because,
even
you
the
can't.
big ones. I mean, I know I'm going to be working to fix one of the bigger ones' boats here next week, because I know how to do fiberglass repair and welding and all kinds of.
Of course you do. You're going to tell us what you don't know at the end. So don't tell me what you know.
But it becomes a situation where somebody quoted him $100,000 to fix his boat.
Wow.
He don't have $100,000.
No.
And we can get the material for right at $5,000.
Wow.
So I can spend 2-3 days, and in 3 days' time, I can fix something and give him back a way to earn a livelihood. Granted, it takes that time because I have to let layers dry. It's just the way it is. But I mean, then the guy can go out and earn his living.
Wow.
And that helps him. That helps this economy. That helps these neighbors. That helps these humans, these families. That helps this community be sustainable. There's another house down here that's owned by some people that make their living crabbing. And that's how they feed their family. They have 9 children.
Wow.
And they're currently stuck in an RV.
Wow.
Because their house sustained catastrophic damage. It lost the roof, and it was a mobile home. Now, granted, they had up on pylons 16 feet off the ground, a mobile home, because of where it's located and the risk of flood and damage, but it took the whole roof off. And they owe money for it. They have a mortgage on it.
Oh, wow.
And here's the funny thing. Down here, the mortgage companies don't necessarily require insurance because they know the people can't afford the they have a $700 and something, almost $800 a month mortgage payment, and their insurance would have been another $1,500 on top of that.
Right. So we have so many things to talk about, but on that point, just to delve into this a little more, because this is really interesting, and I don't think there are many people who know the level of this situation. A skeptic is going to say, why the heck are they still there? So to that skeptic who says, why are they there? Obviously, I know the answer to that, but give the answer to why they're still there.
Well, the family that has that house, he doesn't know. They don't know any other. I mean, all the kids go out and help crab.
Right.
All the older kids and the wife, they're all out at 2 o'clock in the morning. They basically work from 2 a.m. till 10 a.m. running crab traps every day, 7 days a week. And that's all they know. They don't have other skills. They don't have they don't even know where to start dealing with their house, how to fix their house, and it becomes a situation where it's socioeconomically not feasible for him to move.
Right.
If he moves farther inland, okay, now he has a boat. Where's he going to park that boat?
Right. And what value is he going to get for the land that's there? And we always, you hear about retraining. All this stuff, coding, the coding in Appalachia for coal miners, and all good things. But we have generations of people who do one thing, and that's what they do, and it becomes very, very hard to retrain. I mean,
Very.
it sounds conceptually nice, but you're on the ground and you see it.
It's next to impossible. You have a 50-year-old man that all he's done since he was a teenager, he probably started when he was, I'm guessing, 10 years old, out on a crab boat.
Right.
He's got 40 years of playing out here in the Gulf. When I say playing, if you've ever gone out with a crab boat, I'm intending on going out on a crab boat and filming it, actually.
Okay, good.
While I'm here. It's on my list of things to do.
Oh, you have a list, and you better share that with us.
And I intend to document what it takes to get those crabs from the water to your table. Mm-hmm. Because there again, this is sustainable. It's a sustainable form of agriculture because these are wild crabs. These are not farmed crabs.
Correct.
These are wild shrimp. These are not farmed shrimp. Mm-hmm. These are wild caught fish. These are not farmed fish. Totally different way of looking at the situation and what's going on.
That's going to segue us into one of the 15 things you're all about. Talk about real food, the difference. You hinted at it there. You can take shrimp as your example, or you can take any of the other things that you have going on that.
I'm going to walk over here.
That mobile living, whatever you have going on, which with you could show me anything and I believe it.
Well, here's what's really funny. Okay. I built a custom rig to go down the road and do what I'm doing. I went on the road full time in January. I never intend to actually go home again. My home is with me. I am not homeless. I am houseless intentionally to be able to further spend more resources, time, and energy doing what I believe I'm called to do, my passion. And my passion is related to farms. I don't know if you can see the truck there, but it
absolutely
says farms, food, families, and freedom. And it's Take Back Our Farms, Food, Families, and Freedom. Now, you were talking about sustainable agriculture. So if you turn to my trailer that follows my truck, can you see it there?
I love you. Yes. Read this off to us.
It says, are you eating fishy food? Where does your food come from? GetToKnowYourFarmer.com. And then below are some of our programs, as well as talks about the Advocate program, the Victory Garden program. It has a column about donating. And then it has Neighbors Helping Neighbors in the back, which is what we're down here doing. But I have a fishy sugar beet, which everybody down here calls a fishy shrimp, which it is what it is, but it still gets people to stop in their vehicles and ask me, what in the world is that funny thing on top? That is a fiberglass and steel sugar beet. And over on the other side is the corn.
Yes.
And my rig is 70 foot long.
Okay. It's
built on a GMC Top Kick 6500 chassis.
What was that? Was that a Bobcat service truck? What was that?
That truck in the front, the GMC Top Kick chassis, was originally a Penske moving truck. It didn't have the front compartment. The front compartment is 1,200 pounds of steel welded. It's a tool compartment. It's where I store tools for reconstruction.
Okay.
I literally have an entire construction company on here.
Yes.
I have an entire livestock. I have living quarters for 4 goats, an alpaca, room for a llama, 4 dogs, and crew members. I have bunks, a shower, a composting toilet.
Okay, we're gonna need a tour of this, but that you lead me down 50 paths. You know that too. That's why you're laughing.
It's how I am.
I know it's how you are. Wow. So, sustainable food. I know you draw people in with the objects, which is, you're so good at working with animals, working with objects to get your entry, and then the passion takes over and you can preach. To be honest, it's preaching because
Oh yeah.
you so believe this. Tell us about why food needs to be more sustainable. Why does agriculture need to be done more sustainably?
Agriculture in America, the majority of it is 80% of the food in American grocery stores contain a chemical that is owned by Monsanto, a patent.
Absolutely.
And Monsanto is now owned by Bayer. So now you have the largest chemical patent holder in the world owned by the largest pharmaceutical patent holder in the world.
I saw that Monsanto documentary. Explain what that means when farmers can spray anything. Just explain that so people understand.
Your body's not made to digest nature. When you fight nature, you're going to lose. Nature's been at this longer than Monsanto, longer than I've been alive, longer than anybody. People today, they go around and they tell people, well, I'm allergic to bread. You know, I have a allergy to bread. In reality, they don't have an allergy to bread. They have an allergy to glyphosate, which is what's sprayed on the American wheat system in corporate agriculture. And when they eat that glyphosate, they react to it, which common sense says you're eating a toxic chemical. It's one of the 3 ingredients in Agent Orange. Honestly, I don't know why the American population is so comfortable eating Agent Orange, but they do it. And there's a lot of people that think they're allergic to different things. That's why cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, autism, various other diseases are just record highs, is because of our societies promoting eating garbage, eating things you weren't intended to, fighting nature. And when you start fighting nature, you're not going to win.
Right.
Rodale Institute up there in Kurztown, Pennsylvania, they have a 30-year study comparing sustainable agriculture or regenerative agriculture to conventional agriculture. And they have proven that sustainable organic agriculture outperforms conventional agriculture over 30 years. Because the farmers and corporate ag and Monsanto and all these guys, they want you to believe that the only way you can feed the population of the world as it continues to grow is using chemicals.
Right.
That's not so. That's not a truthful statement. It's a wrong statement.
It's more effort. It's definitely harder, but I think the market, now this gets into so many other issues, but the market for organics is growing. Obviously there's a price point issue. But it does show that the market has made room for that. The market's made room for the message you just said.
It is making room, but here's the other issue. When you have farmers trying to sell a dozen pastured eggs for $4 a dozen or $5 a dozen, and Walmart's out there selling eggs for $1 a dozen.
Yep.
And then you have people that can barely afford to eat to begin with.
Right.
You have a situation where they're forced to garbage. And that's not right. And the only reason why Walmart can sell those eggs for that price is because they're taking advantage of volume and squashing the farmer. They're telling the farmer, we're not going to pay you more than so much per dozen. And it doesn't matter if that doesn't cost you 90 cents to produce. We're only going to pay you 92 cents for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's and the farmer, unlike in our business, our inventory is not perishable. A farmer's inventory is perishable for the most part.
Yeah, most agricultural produced products are perishable.
So they know that, you know, they can take advantage of that.
Yeah, and they also know that there's very few, when you have a farmer, unless they're selling direct to consumer or they're involved with an organization like what I have, they don't have a way to be able to unload their product unless it's unloaded via the wholesale marketplace, which is crazy because, I mean, we saw how bad the wholesale system messed up when COVID hit and the grocery store shelves were empty.
Yep, supply chain, another, and which leads to another point. See, all of this, if you look big picture and you live big picture, all of it wraps together in one, because you were just talking about Walmart's advantage, and you know, they can bring things from all over the world cheaper. Usually when we say we now have a supply chain issue, it's only because things have to come from all over the world. That's why there's a supply chain issue. There wouldn't be a supply chain issue to the level if things were done local or sustainably.
Well, and a lot of your steel, a lot of scrap steel, where does it end up?
Oh, I know. Most of it domestic on the steel front. Non-ferrous does get exported a lot because the domestic options aren't as many.
Yeah. And the only way that it becomes feasible to even recycle it, money wise, is by selling it to the highest bidder, which would be China.
And not
And
always. Lately, that's kind of changed a little bit, but
good.
yes, you are correct.
You know,
You
you
are
look at the
correct.
situation with building materials right now, okay? Building materials since COVID hit have gone, a sheet of plywood has gone from $13 a board to $95 a board.
Right. And it doesn't make sense. That, like, what happens, what has to happen. I don't care, booming economy, infrastructure, blah, blah, blah. At some point, those material costs stop production. It has to, or stops
Yeah.
construction, or stops something, because you're on the ground there. You need materials. If you
Mm-hmm.
had to go out and buy new materials for what you're doing for these people, you wouldn't make it. I mean, it
Well,
wouldn't make sense.
it's taking projects that would normally cost me $5,000-6,000 and it's pushing them up to 40.
Right. And that's you talk about sustainable. That's truly not sustainable.
No, it's not. It's a major problem. We're having to raise more money in a economy where we can't because people have been laid off. Money is tight for a lot of
Absolutely.
people that donate, and we're having to raise more to make up for our cost increase. Well, look at the cost of fuel. It cost me $400 in fuel in one day driving over here to this location from our last location.
Where were you last?
I was in New Orleans,
Oh,
Louisiana.
yes. I missed out on an opportunity to see you and the crew in the French Quarter. That would have been a must see, I'm sure.
Yeah, we actually took the animals and went down Bourbon Street in New Orleans. I
And how
drove
were
my
you
rig.
received?
Oh, it was interesting. A lot of folks, it was very interesting. I
Did
mean, it
they
was
did
quite a
they
process.
try to give did they try to give the animals beads or no?
Oh, yeah, we actually got beads for all of the animals. They threw beads off the balconies for the animals, and I put them on the animals. I don't, whatever. I mean, it's
I
just
love it.
to the PR. It builds better. I mean, we
Oh,
had crowds and crowds. We were down there Easter Sunday night. We were on Bourbon Street, and then the following Monday we were on Bourbon Street, and we generated Easter Sunday night. We generated 60,000 hits to the website in one night.
oh, buddy, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's a lot of traffic for 4 hours worth of work, 5 hours worth of work.
Absolutely. That's what I say. You use your tools. Now, did you bring the whole rig down through?
I
How
drove the rig
close?
down through on Monday.
Okay.
I only took our rig was parked about 6-8 blocks away
Yeah.
from from Bourbon Street. I actually found a place to park in an industrial area that was pretty much abandoned,
Uh-huh.
which was real nice of them. But I wanted to scout out the French Quarter before I tried to drive my rig down there because my rig's 13 foot 4 inches tall and it's
I am
102
visualizing
inches
all of
wide.
this. I've seen you in action. I'm just visualizing all of this.
And it was a chore to get it down Bourbon Street, but I managed to do it.
Yeah.
And we went down there and we took the animals down there and met people. And I got a really good volunteer over here that's got the critters out along the right here for me, holding them while I'm
Oh,
on.
let's meet and talk. Now, as you can see, Ethan, I am short compared to you. I only have Manny, Mo, and Jack up on the wall there, our mounted deer. You come to the show with much more than I can ever offer. So let's go over and meet them.
Well, I don't know if she wants to be on the air. I think she's
Oh,
probably
yes,
shy. Well,
I see.
this is Squeaky. She's ridden with us since I think since Ocala.
Mhm.
Yeah, she's been on our team since we were in Ocala, Florida. We did
Okay.
a big outreach thing in the Ocala National Forest, provided medical first aid services and transports to the hospital and this kind of stuff to about 600 hippies in the woods.
I see.
And there was a guy that was murdered there while we were there. I witnessed it. One of the locals shot him.
Are you kidding?
Nope.
What? Okay. So how did that go?
Well, when you're in a community that doesn't respect people for what they believe or how they look, and they think that gives them an excuse to go after them, that's a problem.
It sure is. I mean, that's not what God created us for.
No, God created us. We're supposed to show love, compassion, and empathy to everybody. And that means it's the hippie in the middle of the woods that hasn't had a bath in a year, or the Amishman in the middle of Lancaster County, or the homeless guy in the middle of Miami. We're supposed to show those people love.
Absolutely.
And whether that's cooking for them, whether that's tilling up a garden so they can plant food, whether that's building them bathrooms. We did a project in Gadsden, Alabama, where we built a hippie commune bathrooms.
Okay.
Because, well, we'll just say the bathroom situation was lacking. And we needed to come back to the 20th century as far as sanitation goes. And so we literally built bathrooms.
Excellent.
We built 4 bathrooms that are now, they have a shower, a sink, and a toilet in each bathroom with hot water.
That's awesome, buddy.
It's usable. And that's what we did when we were there. We did a project in Bonifay, Florida. This is all stuff since the first of the year.
That's what I'm trying to capture all this, because timing wise, I mean, this is a lot of production.
Yep. Every day.
So if we want to help these endeavors, what charity of yours would you prefer donations to go to? And I'm obviously going to put all the links in here on this podcast, but and then the show notes for the audio. But which charity would you like us to prioritize?
If you go on to donate.gtkYF.org, you can see exactly how to donate to us.
Okay. Perfect.
And that covers all. I mean, you can tag it for Neighbors Helping Neighbors. You can tag it for the Ambassador Livestock. You can tag it for the advocacy program. You can tag it for the Victory Garden program, whatever you want to tag it for, and it will end up being tagged to that program of ours.
Oh, that's wonderful. And we actually just had a podcast for Earth Day. We're donating portions of charity to 3 organizations in Colombia that are just food and shelter because of the need now. And what impressed me with them is because of the active volunteer base, it's like all the money gets to the people. I think it's quite evident, anyone watching this, understanding you, when I say any money is getting to the people. Tell me your salary, Ethan.
$12,000 a year.
All right. It's that, right?
Yeah. And I take, like, for instance, I got my April check and I turned around and gave 200 of it to help out a family.
Oh, buddy.
Because that needed to be. And it wasn't in the budget. So you use what you got to use. And it is how it is. I mean, we built a tiny house in Bonifay, Florida for a disabled veteran.
That's awesome.
So that he wouldn't have to live in a tent. When FEMA came in, he was damaged in Hurricane Michael, which is 2 years ago.
Okay.
And FEMA came in, gave him a FEMA trailer. And then 2 years after they gave it to him, they came and took it away from him, kicked him out in the road.
Oh, boy.
And okay, so how is this okay? So we went down there and got somebody to give us an old shed that we converted to a tiny house, and then put a bathroom and a little kitchen and a shower, and put heat and electricity and plumbing in it, and made it livable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a home now. Granted, it's only 16 by 20, but it's a home.
It's shelter.
Yeah, it is.
It's shelter. It's needs, not wants. It's and that's where you're operating. I mean,
oh yeah.
What can we backtrack? Where in your, give us a little history of your life that you feel like you want to share? I know a lot of people are probably thinking this might be their first time being introduced to you, or even at one of our Earth Day events or something. But give us give us your story.
Well, I grew up in Strasburg, Pennsylvania, which obviously is Lancaster County. If anybody knows Strasburg, it's where they got the railroad. And at a young age, I started working on factory chicken farm type setups, battery cages and pullet houses and things like this. Got involved in that. Was gathering eggs from a very young age. The company that I gathered eggs for is now a massive egg processing plant and trucking company and cooling company and everything else based out of New Holland. Which, I mean, that's who I was involved with from a young age. My father is a doctor for the Amish and Mennonites, has delivered babies at home for 40 something years and for them, and now has just retired the first of last year.
Okay.
Anyway, so and then I ended up in foster care, ended up out in Colorado, grew up, graduated from
your audio is slipping a little bit. If you could get us back.
Okay, are you there?
Yeah, it's just slipping a little bit. It's a little mute. It's a little off.
I'm sorry. The cell phone signal down here comes and goes.
Yeah, I get you.
How to deal with that yet? I haven't figured that out. All right, there's a pelican that just landed over here on the shrimp boat right next to me. See if I can turn around so you can see him. Big old, he's not a white pelican. He's one of these gray ones. Can you see him?
Oh, yeah, let's see it.
You see him out there?
I can't see. You got to get us closer without walking on water, Ethan.
Well, he's about 40 feet out in the water.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, we don't want you to walk on water for the audience. We do not want to record miracles.
No, and I couldn't do that anyway.
That's right.
I went into foster care, ended up graduating from public high school, ended up going to college, opened a farm, opened a plumbing company.
And this is all in Colorado. You're
yep.
now, this is all in your Colorado phase?
Yep. And then 2012, I was hurt, ended up getting run over. I spent quite a bit of time out of commission. And then from that, I ended up getting heavily invested in activism.
Okay.
And from the activism world, I just kind of kept growing.
So let's review. 2012, you got run over. What happened?
I was run over by a government agent for my stance against corporate agriculture and against fracking and the behavior of the individuals that run Will County, Colorado, the Rademacher and those guys who have vested interest in corporate agriculture. And I was not part of corporate agriculture. I was raising chickens, pastured poultry. I was raising heirloom tomatoes. I had about 6,000 tomato plants, about 20,000 pastured birds.
Wow.
And yeah, it ended up with me ending up getting divorced and having to sell out. Changed my path of my life. And at this point, my life is all about trying to make a difference in the best way I know how, which is to go and help people in their immediate needs. I think a lot of churches and religious groups today, including the Mennonites and the Amish, they talk a talk, but when it comes to actually coming down here and crawling under, yesterday I was laying underneath a lady's house whose house moved about 2 inches in the storm.
Yeah.
And her sewer has been disconnected since September.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's complaining about odors in her house. Now, if you know anything about sewage and not being connected since September.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, yes, I wore a Tyvek suit, but there are very few people that would go crawl underneath something like that in the first place, let alone do it for free, let alone go and spend $60 on parts to put the plumbing back together. And it literally sheared the PVC pipe off right at the floor where the pipe went through the floor. It just snapped it.
Wow. Wow. And what you're describing there. So what you're describing there, I want our audience to truly understand. To me, and this has a lot of similarities to other charities that are very, very close to the ground. When you donate to a charity that's literally close to the ground, you know, it was the $60 part, but only you could have done that for $60. If I donate to, I'm not going to name any, but a bigger charity, sure, they're going to do it. But that would have cost $360 of their funds because they would have had to hire someone.
She had a contractor out there who quoted her $5,000 to fix her plumbing.
Or that. Or that. I think I was a little off on my estimate. I won't go into estimating.
Well, for instance, the house from the Crabbers, they have a price from a contractor to fix where the roof got taken off and tear out all the drywall and put it all back and all that mess. They have a price of $300,000 to repair their home. Now, mind you, this home, when they bought it, was only worth $150,000. And not only that, but they don't have insurance. They couldn't afford insurance. So I've got it figured out. I was doing material takeoffs, in fact, yesterday on it, trying to figure out what it was going to cost us. And I'm looking at between 30 and 40 grand to put this house back.
Wow.
And that gives 9 children, 2 parents, a place to live. And they're not going to get granite countertops. They're not going to get fancy cabinets. They're going to get functional, usable, safe, sanitary living quarters.
Right. And that gets them the right to go out and work their butts off shrimping and crabbing for God knows how many hours a day. That just gets them to where they can do that. You know what I mean? I mean, it's so daunting.
Well, they're out doing it every day now, but they're living in an RV. And the RV.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. Well, we're going to see what we can do and encourage others. Donate.gty.
GTKYF.
I always miss the K. GTKYF.org. That's where we need to get people, and we'll promote that.
The GTKYF is the initials of Get to Know Your Farmer.
Get to know. I always miss the no. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what's wrong with me.
There's not much wrong with you. You're a pretty good fellow last time I checked.
Well, I don't know. I'm not, you know what? You touched on it a little earlier about religion, faith, and true spirituality. And without, everyone has their own thoughts. So you're a man, I can tell that you come to things with, you said empathy and respect for others. That's what you always lead with. It's so obvious in who you are. But when you get to this level of truly seeing, as intended, truly seeing Christ in other people that are hurting, just talk a little bit about that, because I know you've had a transformation in your life. It's very obvious. Just talk a little bit about that when you see people.
When I see people, I believe that we are called to reach those people where they're at. What I read in the Bible and what I believe is that Jesus, when he was on this earth, he went and he hung out with the leper, the prostitute, the tax collector, which today their tax collectors are probably worse than the ones they had then.
I'm sure of it.
All of the places that people of his status and his stature and his basis wouldn't think that those people should be. And I believe that we're supposed to meet these people. I don't think we should walk up to a homeless guy on the street, pull out a Bible and start beating him over the head. It does no good. But honestly, if you walk up to a hippie in the woods that has a medical issue, dehydrated, slit their hand open with a machete, everything from overdoses to you name it. For 3 weeks straight, I was doing first aid 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I did 60-some trips to the ER.
Wow.
In that time. And those are the people that would agree to go to the ER, or I told them you had no choice. Because if you slit your wrist, you got no choice. I'm taking you to the ER. You're out of my league. But if you take a machete to your thumb and you want me to put it back together and you're okay with me bandaging it up and you going about your business, then so be it. I'll put a bandage on it and you'll go about your business. As long as it's not hit anything critical, that's your call. That's not mine.
Now you touched on something right there. Well, another reason I want people to understand when they donate to you, every last cent is being used on others. I'm sure. Take me through your visits to the ER. Do you bring the animals in to get a better deal? Do
No.
you finagle? I'm sure you help. I'm sure you find a way to make that happen. Go ahead.
I don't bring the animals in, but I typically will call and talk to whoever's in charge and say, look, these people are socioeconomically struggling. They don't have the ability to pay for this and they need care. And I mean, there was a guy that was diabetic and literally can't get on government insurance because he can't figure out the paperwork and can't get his insulin. So he was in sugar shock.
Oh, wow.
So that's deadly.
Yes.
And I took him to the ER, and then I actually took him to the pharmacy. I negotiated with the pharmacy for a better deal, got him some insulin from the prescription the ER gave him, and then I got a hold of doctors that I know, which obviously with my growing up Mennonite world, I can get a hold of doctors and various other people. And I said, hey, we need to get this guy some insulin.
Mm-hmm.
And they sent me a box of insulin.
That's awesome.
And so then I gave it to the guy, and he's got insulin coming now every 2 weeks to a general delivery at a post office that he can go pick up his insulin. And it's not costing him anything, and it's not through our government, which is really funny. We have just circumvented the broken health care system, doing it sustainably, doing it from the ground up.
And if we want to go originalist, everyone talks about being an originalist. If you want to go originalist, the functions of the government, the list of functions of the government on the originalist state were very limited.
Oh,
and
yes.
This is what you're doing was all filled in by private organizations and neighbors
and churches.
Hence your name.
Yeah.
Hence the name.
Hence the program Neighbors Helping Neighbors, which the whole goal of it is to lend a hand to people in distress, whether it be first aid, whether it be helping them keep the light bill on. We have a program called Salt of the Earth, which I actually developed out of an article I read in the Fish Wrapper there in Lancaster County.
Okay.
And it gave me some ideas, and I took those ideas and developed them into an actual program where we help people with minor bills. I'm not talking major bills. I'm talking stuff like they need a $35 part for their car in order to go to work.
Sure.
They need, like that guy needed a couple days worth of insulin so we could get him some.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we take the money from Salt of the Earth. People put money into it. And then that whole fund, the whole goal, every dollar that goes into Salt of the Earth fund comes back out of it to go to paying a deposit on an electric bill, stuff to keep people alive.
Right. Basic needs, basic necessities.
Basic stuff.
Wow. Let me transition a little. If you tell me when a good point is, but we do want to, if we can get a look at the animals and the living quarters, if that's possible, that would be great. No biggie if we can't. Oh, let's intro.
The right there is tragically cute. He's got a lot of furs on him right now because they have these he's trying to eat. He's not real thrilled with me trying to.
Oh no, let tragically cute eat.
He's convinced that he should eat these cockleburs, which in reality are a very nasty little plant that grows all over the place down here in the marsh, and he likes them. And the goats like them too. This right here is Olaf. You gonna say hi, Olaf? You gonna say
Olaf?
Hi?
Is Olaf the goat?
Olaf is one of the goats. We have 4 goats with us. I'll walk you over here to the rig, and I'll show you the inside of where the living quarters is for the animals. I'll show you where some of the inside of the house. I use a lot of my living quarters for storage for gear because we travel with my 70-foot long rig. And then we also have a van and a trailer that also travels.
Oh,
because
wow.
I don't have enough room for all of the gear. Like, for
Right.
instance, I have about a half a skid right now of bottled water. Now, I know bottled water is not considered sustainable, but here's the situation. During COVID, the government shut off a lot of the drinking fountains in the big cities for the homeless.
Right. Right.
So now you have people that are dehydrated and actually ending up in the hospital because they can't get drinking water, or they're
Right.
drinking bad water and getting various ailments from drinking water they ought not to be drinking. So we carry bottled water and we pass it out
That's great.
because it's something that needs to be passed out. So this right here is our shuttle van, our satellite
Okay.
van, whatever you want to call it. It used to be a Mennonite school bus. The radio doesn't work. When we got it, the rear end messed up, but it works. It does the trick. It's an E350 with a Triton V10 in it, and we use that to go down the road. So then here,
Okay.
this is our trailer that goes behind. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
This behind the van. We have a diesel generator, 10,000 watt diesel generator.
Okay.
We have gas cans, obviously. We have a life jacket there because we actually have a canoe on board. There's some bottled water. There's a water jug for the animals. There's actually metal that we use for this rolled metal here. It's coil stock. We use it for replacing flashing, making makeshift gutters, any number of different things. There's a bunch of heavy duty coolers over there. When we go out and do feeds, we can stockpile food to take out and do feeds, make burritos, make potatoes, whatever. We have, this is one of our propane tanks. There's the other one.
Okay.
Right here is all of our, what we call our long hand tools, which is rakes, shovels, shingle removers, brooms, things like that we use to go out and do projects along the way with the stuff that we're doing. That big old chunk of steel over there, you'll be very proud of me. I don't know if you can see it. You see that tank? What used to be a heating oil tank from Pennsylvania. You see it?
Yes.
That is actually a barbecue now.
Excellent.
Which we use when we go to cook food for people that need food. I told you it stormed real bad last night. This is what's left of our kitchen here on site from the storm last night. Our tarps kind of got trashed.
Yeah.
Because we had high winds and a lot of damage came through last night. But we tied our tarps to our trailer because our kitchen's there and everything. But that's one of our rigs where we carry materials and stuff to. We have ramps there for automotive. I mean, I've put starters in on the side of the road. I've replaced ball joints. I've done wheel hubs. I've done brakes. I got brakes to do down here in this community where we're at right now for a person.
Okay.
But it's stuff they can't afford. You know, you
Right.
get somebody that can't go to work because their starter's out on their vehicle, and the starter's $60, $100, whatever. Some of them even have the money for the part, but they can't afford. The mechanic wants $400 to put a starter in.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I crawl underneath the thing, and an hour later I come out and there's a new starter in.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, I was putting automotive parts in the woods, in the national forest, in Ocala, in the sand. For hippies.
You didn't run into any of my snakes, did you? That sounds.
I found a 4 foot long copperhead in Alabama that I actually dispatched because he was not being friendly.
Okay, so dispatched. Could you define?
Well, he lost his head in the altercation.
Shovel?
It was done with a shovel, yes.
Okay, that usually is.
I didn't feel the urge to be sociable with him because he was not talking kindly.
No, I bet he wasn't. And if anyone can whisper to a copperhead, it would be you.
I don't mind working with creatures. I mean, we've had armadillos out here where we're at right now. We've had, last year when I was out here, I had a bobcat come visit.
Oh.
We are
not the S250. You're talking about a live one.
I'm talking about a large, oversized house cat that's a little bit antisocial.
I see.
But yeah, we are in the marsh. I mean, our trailer is right here, and right there, that's even debris from the hurricane, all that metal and stuff, which we still got to dig out of there. But that right there is wetlands. There are plenty of snakes in here.
Oh, thank you.
Everything.
Thank you, Ethan.
Cottonmouths to water moccasins to copperheads, they all want to talk.
Buddy, I think you know from some projects in the past with insulated wire, there are days, if I see a snake in our scrapyard and I see a piece of black insulated wire laying out, I go nuts. It's an irrational fear. So don't you dare, no more. You can talk about dispatching, but you can't talk about it anymore.
Okay. So
I
here's the
love
back
it.
end of our trailer.
Yes,
This is
sir.
our trailer. Now, this trailer used to be a car hauler. It was a car trailer.
Okay.
And the issue at hand is I could not get the weight classification I wanted without getting a car trailer because the other trailers didn't have heavy enough axles and heavy enough suspension to do what I wanted to do.
Okay.
So I went and got a car trailer, and I actually bought it out of a farmer's barn in Morgantown, Pennsylvania. And
Okay.
this right here is angle iron, 3-inch angle iron. That is the framework of the trailer that I welded to the trailer. So here you have, join us, just us riders, take back our farms, food, families, and freedom on the tailgate.
Yeah.
So anybody that follows me gets an education. Right above it is the Fishy Sugar Beet introduction because he's up top. I don't know if you can see him.
I can.
And then it says, are you eating fishy food? What's in the food you eat? Gets farmer.com. And then over here is one of the other sayings I use a lot, which is, it's time we get corporate money out of our government and bring back we the people.
Yep.
And it's on my tailgate going down the road, which definitely gets police officers to like to pull us over. It's exciting. But that's how it goes. I mean, I got pulled over. This whole thing is titled SD Motorhome. And motorhomes do not have to stop at way stations.
Right.
But for whatever reason, they like to pull me over, claiming that I need to stop at way stations anyway and tell them that I don't have to stop at way stations.
I'm sure it's a spirited discussion that starts with empathy, like everything you do.
Yes, I tell them very clearly, I don't have to stop and tell you the law. You should know the law. And let it be at that. And if they get difficult, it is what it is. So anyway, here is the camera.
Hey.
That right there is Sven. He is Olaf's brother.
Okay.
Waterers, which the goats have found a very nifty shelf that's just goat sized, is Churchill and Winston.
Oh, Churchill. Okay. So we have Sven, Churchill, Winston, and Olaf.
Yeah, those are our 4 goats.
They look very cute. They look very at ease, very calm.
They actually came from a goat yoga program in Hartford, Connecticut.
Okay.
Get out. That's not just let you out. I understand you want out. We can come out right now. And then above it is their hay, automatic hay feeder that I built. The hay is gravity fed to them. So they have bales of hay that they can just eat as much hay as they want. And we give them grain, of course. And then I don't know if you can see that door right there, and that's the door. That is our tool.
Okay.
And we have everything in there from air compressors to a welder to a rototiller to a pressure washer to there's 2 more generators in there.
Wow.
There's 3 more generators in there. And there's 9 chainsaws, a chop saw, a table saw. It's pretty packed. You can't hardly get in there. It is what
I'm
it is.
certain. I've seen your operation before. I know there's no space that goes unused.
Well, that's the way life has to be. So
that's
then
right, my friend.
Other side of the trailer where it says "Save the Bees" at the top, and it says the "Are you eating fishy food?" and has the whole Victory Garden, My Advocate, Neighbors Helping Neighbors, all right here.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that there. But that's this side of the trailer. Now going into the break, I will forewarn you. I have dogs that are not necessarily considered sociable by some people.
I understand.
I think you know that.
Yes.
You remember them.
My intro for others who may not know what might be coming. Anytime Ethan warns us about something being unusual or dangerous, it usually comes true.
Well, this is the hallway. These are repurposed French doors, and this is what we call the tiny house.
Oh.
I have storage above it. I have repurposed French doors that are glass. Now, granted, they're a little dirty because the dogs on the other side think it necessary to put their paws on them.
Can I wait, let's get some perspective because I think I just got lost. Are we in the trailer?
We are in the back of the tiny house, the GMC. See, right there's Fishy Corn. You see him?
I see. Okay.
That's
Okay,
the
so
trailer
this
behind
gets
us.
hauled.
I just
This gets
climbed
hauled
up.
around too.
This is what pulls the Fishy trailer with
I
the
see.
animals in it.
Okay.
So then we're going in here, and we have the dogs. Sorry, I have my towels hanging up here because it's
No,
wet outside.
I think
But-
we're beyond. I think we're beyond worrying about that.
So here we have Cinnamon. I don't know if you can see her. Cinnamon, come here. Come here, Cinnamon. That's Cinnamon Doggy. Can you see her?
Oh,
And Mordecai, come here, Mordecai. Mordecai, come. Mordecai, come. Cinnamon, no. Mordecai, come. There's Mordecai.
awesome.
And then here's Sam Dog. Sam, come. Sam, come. That's Sam Dog. He's a 190-pound German Shepherd.
Okay,
Uh-oh, did I lose you?
that's all right. Sam needed to get some love, so we're
There he
okay.
is. All right, so then above that is storage. There's canned goods up there and dehumidifiers and an ozone machine for dealing with mold.
Okay.
Because that's a necessity. Now, this is where I live, and I use 3/4 of it for storage and a little bit for me. Oh, I almost missed Night Doggy. Right here's Night Doggy.
Wow.
So then this is my living quarters, and it's tight. Right there's my bunk. That's where I
Yes.
stay. It's 22 and a half inches wide by 6'3" long.
And you're how tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
Oh, you got 2 inches.
I know, that's why I built it that long.
Of course.
Then I have my dry erase board, like there's my calendar, my hat hooks, my livestock leads. This is all my essential oil collection
Oh.
right there.
What's your favorite essential oil? Everyone wants to know.
Probably peppermint,
Why?
because it keeps me awake when I need to be awake. I just put a little underneath my nose. It clears out my sinuses, and it keeps me healthy.
Okay. Very cool.
I do a concoction. My volunteers laugh at me because the stuff that I drink every morning, I drink an elderberry, zinc, oregano oil, garlic, and what we would call fire cider, which is garlic, cayenne, raw honey. What else is in that? Mix that is let to set and stew.
Okay.
So I drink this concoction every day, try to stay healthy because I'm on all kinds of interesting things. And it's not always good things.
Yes, you're gonna email me afterwards with this concoction. We're gonna post it. But do you drink it in water, or how does that work?
I use an 8-ounce cup, and I put it's actually right here.
Okay.
And it's got a metal straw, and I mean, the cup's a little dirty, but that's how life is when you have animals. And I put it in there, and it's got a full dropper full of oregano oil. It's got like an entire clove of garlic.
Oh, wow.
So it's hot. I mean, it'll make you cry. But
Yeah.
you know what? You don't get sick.
I was on a spurt of oregano oil, and I could only take so much. I made the mistake of directly applying it to under my tongue. I am that stupid. I had no idea. And
That's
wow. Oh yeah. Even in water, that stuff's rough. But
Yeah.
listen, wow. A clove of garlic.
There's my oregano oil right there.
Okay.
And here's my elderberry and zinc.
All right.
And my peppermint should be right here somewhere. Cedar wood. It's normally one of these bottles right here in the front. I also have peppermint. There's clove.
Okay.
There's pepper. So, I mean, yeah, I do. And I do this here, one of the Mennonite ladies gave me, and I do this about every other day. This makes me too wired. And that's not so good.
It's called don't wait. I love Mennonite branding. It's called Brain.
Yes, it's Dr. Schultz's Brain.
Okay.
And It's a Mennonite concoction that comes from some Mennonite group, but she sent it to me and asked me if I would try it, and I said, sure, I don't see why not.
I don't either. I certainly don't see why not.
So I try it every other day, and it works fine, but I can't do it every day because then I can't sleep.
I understand, my friend.
So this is my linen closet, my clothes, my towels. I got a whole mess of towels up top. Something a lot of homeless people struggle with is access to socks.
Yes. Yes.
It's the craziest thing you ever saw, but they don't change their socks, so their feet end up with sores.
Right. Right.
So obviously we stockpile socks for those adventures.
Mm-hmm.
And then up above here, this is actually full of dried food. I have about 6,000 pounds of homemade dried food in this rig.
Okay.
And everything from dried tomatoes ground up to dried potatoes to dried any kind of vegetable you can do. I have a commercial dehydrator back in Pennsylvania that I actually would go and buy seconds from farmers, and then I'd throw them in the dehydrator and then grind them up and make them into powder. And so that's what's in these bins. That's like my last resort. I got to feed people now. I've got food that'll feed them for a long time. But all of this up top here is food. All of this on the floor is food. There's 8 bins of food.
For you and others.
Yes. That is used to feed people, feed humans.
Right.
Now, these bins right here are what I call my kitchen bins, and I pull them out. Most of the stuff that belongs in those bins is actually out underneath those tarps. Right. And those bins are my pots, pans, spatulas, everything I need to be able to cook. So, you're like, this tiny toting house is how big in total? The house itself is 40 foot long. Oh wow. Okay, but that's your garage, your house, your tool room, your shop. That's what it is. Yeah, it's an adventure. Underneath over there in that corner is where my sink is, and my refrigerator's underneath the counter over here. But like I do dry erase boards. I don't know if you can see my dry erase board. Oh yeah. And this is how I outline what has to happen on projects. I see half a dozen dry erase boards, and I commence the lists. Mm-hmm. And some of the volunteers are like, why does he make lists? Oh, no. But that's how I get stuff done. And then behind that wall is my shower. But it's currently full of more storage of food. And then behind who needs a shower when you have the Gulf of Mexico? To be honest. Well, I got a place to be here. It's saltwater. I mean, it's literally right here. And it's only 3 feet deep at the end of that dock. 4 feet deep, the one dock. It's usable. But then I have my composting toilet is behind the food bins. That's our big TV for doing events. In fact, I think it might have been out at your place once where we set up videos for people to watch. And here's some more pots and pans hanging on the wall. But it's a very compact living quarters. My living quarters is 8 foot by 13 foot, including my shower and bathroom. Wow. And then the dog kennel area and more storage is the remaining of the 40-foot truck. And then the trailer is 20. With the tongue, the whole total length of the rig is 70 feet from the front bumper to the back bumper. Wow. I'll take you up front and show you the steel contraption in front. Yeah, and on that note, buddy, when you're back restocking, redoing, whatever you need in metals, we got. So we will definitely. A lot of this metal came from you. I know. We're going to take care of you, though. So look, knowing what you're doing, you tell us what you need, and we're going to give it to you. So here is another generator. This is a propane gas generator. Okay. That's the generator that can help power the structure, the house here. This is obviously the cab. Now, I have a very creative ladder up front here because I like to be able to get up to my top. So I built a ladder. I welded steps. Okay. Oh, wow. Those, wait. What size shoe are you? I think 10. Okay. Those steps of yours cover what portion of your shoe? They're about 3 inches by 1.5 inches. And this thing's 13 foot 4 inches tall. I'll take you up there in a second after I show you the
Okay.
rest of the front here. But this is our front bumper. This is
All right.
24 inches tall, and it's 102 inches across, and it's steel.
And it's beautifully painted, and it hasn't even run into a concrete bumper. That thing's perfect.
Well, it's got a few nicks on it right here. There's a few, but those nicks right there are actually because I tied animals to it.
Yes.
And they wore holes in it. But let me run
Yes.
up here up top, and I'll show you the top real quick. My battery's going to last a little while yet. But right here.
Okay, yeah, we don't want to drain you, so you budget your time, and I know you got to. I'm gracious that you gave us the time you did, but I know you're going to be back on a project, so you end it.
Yeah,
when
I
you
actually
need it.
have to go do a couple of plumbing projects today for some people. But right here is our top compartment, and inside this compartment is another tool storage area, and I also have an incubator and a seeder inside that compartment.
What's an incubator for?
Hatching chicken eggs for people that need to grow their own food.
I can't believe I didn't figure that out.
So I'm climbing up, so bear with me a second. You might have a picture of the sky, but I can't hold the phone where I can see it and climb.
No, I would rather 3 points of contact would be my preference, so forget the phone.
I mean, I'm pretty good at climbing this thing. I've climbed it a few times.
Yes,
But
yes.
it's the top of our rig.
Okay. Oh, do you have solar power on the top?
I don't have solar power on the top yet. I have solar panels. I just haven't managed to get them installed yet.
I was asking because I knew it was something that's probably on the dry erase board.
It is.
Yes, it is. Why wouldn't it
So
be?
I have a platform up here, which is kind of like a stage / storage area / you can do a lot of things. And I'm literally 13 foot 4 inches in the air right now.
Wow.
So then I have my metal brake up here
Okay.
for bending metal. I have ladders, of course. We have to have them. And I carry spare tires with me.
Okay.
Because something I found is these lovely tires are mighty pricey when you need one in a hurry on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah.
But I have everything on my rig to replace a tire on the side of the road, a big rig tire.
I know you do.
And then I have a canoe. There's my canoe.
Yes. And
Right
that's
here.
not for leisure. That's probably for rescue and God knows what.
Well, it's so that I can get places that I might not be able to get to otherwise.
Yeah.
And so then we have more storage up here. This is actually more surplus kitchen gear. These 3 bins here. We have sawhorses, more tires. There's gas cans. We have a whole mess of gas cans.
Yeah.
Something you'll find with a lot of the economically challenged people is they're constantly running out of gas.
Right.
And if you give them a gas can with $4 or $5 worth of gas in it, and you give them the can and tell them, well, next time you run out, walk yourself to the store and go get $5 worth of gas. That's a solution to their problem.
Exactly.
And I have probably
often
30 gas cans on here.
We do throw money at things, but a lot of times people are held back by what some people would think would be the simplest of things, but you're kind of connecting the dots for them. It's not that hard to go buy a gas can, but it's a combination of know-how, financial situations, and just overall feeling defeated that leads people to not activate themselves. And I love how you fill that gap.
Well, these gas cans are donated. People gave them to us. We were doing some household hazardous waste cleanup events at one point, and people would bring in brand new gas cans because they smelled like gas and want to get rid of them. Well, the company that was doing the event said, you can have all those gas cans.
Yeah.
Well, they're gas cans.
Right.
But so, I mean, we ended up with several hundred gas cans that we have been repurposing all along the way to folks that need it.
Hey, give us a
here's my big
13-foot. Give us a 13-foot high view of the area there. Tell us what's out here. So the Gulf is out there?
That's actually marsh. It's a channel.
Okay.
And those boats over there where I'm pointing right now are shrimp boats.
Okay.
And then you come around, that's a refinery across the channel, which is I think they call it LNG. is the
Okay.
name of the refinery. Because in this area of the country, refineries are all over the place. And then we go around and there's a channel with the marsh. You see the grass out there. And then these little trees that we're parked next to are called live oaks, which I guess are better than dead ones. But then you go
Yes.
around and you look this way and there's a whole bunch of marsh.
Oh, there's our friends.
Yep, they're right there in the back.
I love
That's
the
fishy corn
eyes.
and oh yeah, it gets people all kinds of excited. And then we just keep going around and we're back to where we started.
Wow. Ethan.
So it's
Man.
quite the project. There's the alpaca and goat with my volunteer down there, Miss Squeaky. Say hi, Squeaky.
She's not that shy. You couldn't be shy if they're hanging around you. How can anyone be shy?
I get some folks that think that I'm a little bit too loud.
Really?
Yes, it's catastrophic, but it is the way it is.
Give us just for fun here, couple quick hits. What is your what is your what's the most unexpected places you've showed up with your animals that have stunned people?
Well, I think the subway in DC during not this last inauguration, but the one before.
Okay. That may have done it.
I jumped on the subway in DC with llamas and alpacas.
How did you get down? Did they use the elevator for you? Or escalator?
No, we took them right down the steps. We walked right down the steps, and then we walked through the handicap turnstile.
You're handicapped.
That's right. We walked right through.
Oh, I love it.
And we jumped on the metro and we rode out to I forgot where we rode from to where, but we did that whole thing. We made the news for it.
Oh, I bet
you did. If you Google llama at the inauguration, you'll see me. I made the news for that trick.
I love it. But did the llamas have the ability to hold it in certain times on the subway and things? Can you train that?
Llamas are where they like to only use one specific spot.
Oh.
They're not inclined to use places that they're not familiar with, and they definitely won't use where they're sleeping.
I see. Right.
Now, goats, on the other hand, goats leave a trail. Goats leave little tiny pellets all the way down the sidewalk.
Oh, absolutely. I love the visual of all your friends in the French Quarter. I wish we could capture some of that. So we'll look on your website and see what we can gather. So gtkyf.org, donate.gtkyf.org is where we want everyone to be driven to. And we've heard a lot in this podcast, guys. I'll let the audience be the judge, but what I see is a man who's just trying to make a difference wherever he goes. And what's unique about you is you take your knowledge and all the resources you have access to, and every one of them is utilized, whether it's marketing or a project. Every bit of that trailer and your existence is all driven in the same direction. It's beautiful to see. I'm so impressed by you.
It's a whole different way of branding.
Oh, it is.
But you know what? You got to do what you got to do. I don't have a big marketing budget. I have websites and I have volunteer website builders. People say, well, your website doesn't look too great. Well, you know what? That's because volunteers staff a lot of them.
No. Yeah. Your content.
That is what it is.
Your content wins. Forget it. Tell them to go.
Exactly.
Forget it. Listen, Ethan, I can't thank you enough for the time you've given us today. Just God bless you. Continue. And everyone donate.gtkyf.org. And we're going to see you next time you're up this way, right? When are you planning on being up this way?
I don't plan on coming back to Pennsylvania for probably 5 years. I have an almost 2-year route right now planned of doing relief work.
Okay.
So I'm going to be traveling next to probably back to Mississippi, and then from there back down here, and then from here up to Oklahoma. Then I have Kansas. Then I have the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I have Wisconsin, Minnesota, the Dakotas, And then I have them all the way over to Idaho, and then into Washington State, the First Nations reservation in Washington State, and then I have Oregon, California, all the way down to Imperial Valley, working with the farm workers down in Southern California, and then all the way over to Arizona, New Mexico, and then back into Texas.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
literally have 2 years on the road planned out, and I don't know when I'll end up back in Pennsylvania, because as I've been on the road, my trip is getting longer.
Oh, I know. You see need everywhere. You can't. Yeah.
I have a
I'm
hard time telling somebody that's suffering, no, I don't care about you. It's just not
right.
something I'll do.
I know that. It's not about I'm going to Oklahoma. It's about I'm going to help this person here, and that's who you are. Listen, thank
I'm
you
going to go
so.
there and I'm going to help them build a little school for some on a reservation, a res.
Excellent.
Try to help them get a school and get a little garden going to teach those children how to grow food, because they have trouble with access to healthy food.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Ethan,
So
thank you for your time. Anything you'd like to sign off with us? It's just been we're just so grateful.
So take back your farms, food, families, and freedom. It's time we get corporate money out of our government, bring back the fourth branch, we the people. Turn off that TV, get off that couch, get in the streets, and do something.
That's everything. That was very succinct. You were ready for that.
I do my elevator speech very often.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, my friend. God bless you, and you be safe, and we'll be in touch.